Hey guys, I'm going to show you Adobe InDesign. So Adobe InDesign is a page layout program. So Adobe Photoshop is used for working with images. Adobe Illustrator is used for vector illustration or drawing. And Adobe InDesign is a program where you bring all of that together to create layouts. So you would use this to put together things like magazines or posters or any sort of print medium. We use it to put together the yearbook. So this is a program that you use for layout design. It's probably the tool that I use the most, actually. When you look at this program, it looks a lot like Photoshop. It has all the tools, also Illustrator, they all look similar. It has options for those tools based on when you click those tools. If you hover over a tool, it'll tell you the name of it. If I select it, if you see a little triangle down in here, it means that there are tools behind the tools. So if I click and hold, I see there are more tools. It also has a pen tool like Illustrator does, so you can also do vector illustration because this is also a vector-based program. You have windows over here just like Photoshop and Illustrator. So that's a big overview of this program. So the biggest insight I would give you in this program is the fact that it uses grids and guides. So InDesign is used to do layouts, which means we need our content to be organized. And the way organization happens is by using grids and guides. So if I go up to layout, I can create a grid system for all my work to be put in. So I might choose the appropriate number of columns that I want to use. I would say more often than not, choose odd numbered columns. We also want to fit it to the margins, not the page. And the reason for that is it creates negative space, which is also a design element. So maybe I use 7 columns. And the way layout design works is like this. I might make a rectangle, and I can click and drag out a box. And in this box, if you think in terms of using Illustrator, you still have a stroke and you still have a fill. And I'm going to put a picture in this. But for right now, with my swatches, I'm just actually just going to fill it with a color. So I know that a picture box goes there. Maybe I make this smaller. We'll see what happens. Then text. To create type, use the type tool. You click and drag out a box. You can simply type in that box to add letters, or you can go up to type and fill with placeholder text. And it fills it with words that look like words but aren't really real. And then we can choose our appropriate fonts that we want. So oftentimes you guys might see me use Roboto a lot. I like the Roboto font because there's a lot of weights and different looks to this particular font. It's also a very clean font. So maybe just for the sake of this, I'll use Roboto regular. Also, we never want to use the standard. So I always use a smaller font. It looks good like in magazines. And then we want to tighten up the leading, which is the space between our lines of type, just to make it look nice. So what I would do with something like this is I would maybe copy it and paste a bit more of it. And then I want this column to flow into a new column. So this little red plus sign, if I click it, I can then click and it made a new text box with the rest of it. And then I can format this to be the appropriate size. So if I copy this and paste more, we see that it starts to fill out that space. Let's see, what else can we do here? I can get a picture in here. So the way that you get imagery in here for print is you go to File, Place. And we would place imagery into these boxes. So I know these are just, this is research that we're doing for our yearbook currently. But I'll just grab one of them, I suppose. And I'll go to open. And so what it does is it puts it in the box. So just like Illustrator, if you use the black arrow, you move the whole thing. By the way, because it is like Illustrator, if I use the white arrow, I can grab an anchor point. Let me zoom in on it here. And I can move that point, and I can pretty much put pictures in any shape that I draw. I can use the pen tool to draw these shapes out as well. But anyway, the black arrow moves the whole box, and the white arrow moves the picture inside of the box. So the way that we can rescale, there's 2 ways to do it. One, I can right click and I can go to fitting, and I can fill the frame proportionally, and it'll scale it down. The other way, which we use a lot, is we hold both Shift and Control. I'm on a PC. Shift and Control to keep it proportionate. So we want to keep the elements proportionate. People should not look skewed or stretched. You got to keep things proportionate. Otherwise, people get upset because that's not really what they look like. So again, we'll just pretend like I got this picture, and there it is. So there's more I could do with this, but for the sake of this little overview of how you use InDesign, that's kind of the gist of it. So again, the text is also boxes. I can just use the black arrow to move the whole text. It's also a box too that I can grab an anchor point and I can reshape my boxes, because really, again, it's all about boxes and grids and guides, this whole program. So I can move things around how I want and how I see fit. So I can turn off all my guides. They're not really there. These borders are also not there. If I go to view, I can go to extras and I can hide my frame edges. And I can also go to view and my grids and guides and hide my guides. And this is really what my page actually looks like. So I also notice I have a black box around this, because I actually do have a black box around this. So I'm going to flip that over, and now I don't have a border anymore. But that's the basics of how to use Adobe InDesign.